Okay, so quite honestly, I wasn't even thinking about doing a video about the iPhone 13 because I wasn't expecting it to be much of an upgrade. The iPhone 12 was a pretty significant update and redesign of the iPhone 11, so this year I thought we could only expect incremental changes. And in a January Bloomberg article, Mark Gurman wrote that Apple engineers consider the next iPhone another S version of the device, which essentially means that there will be only small updates. And Mark Gurman is one of the most reputable leakers out there. But then last week, it just started pouring iPhone 13 rumors, and I obviously couldn't keep those from you guys, my Apple peeps. So let's ramble.
Hold up, things go wild when I pull up. They all on me like a once.
Hey, what's up guys? It's great to see you all again. And if you're new here, I'm Patrick, and this is why I ramble about tech and other stuff. So like I said, we didn't expect much. But according to the latest rumors, it appears that we have quite a bit to look forward to. We're going to talk about the new modem, better Wi-Fi, we'll talk about storage, a couple of serious camera upgrades, interesting things happening with the screen, the design, magnets, and of course the actual release date. So let's start with the modem. Mac Rumors already reported last year that Qualcomm had announced that some of the new models of Apple products in the time period between June of this year and June of next year will include the SDX60 chipset, which is expected to be more efficient, but also to preserve battery life. And I'll explain later why saving battery life is going to be very important for this new phone. In terms of Wi-Fi, Barclays wrote that the new iPhones might support a new Wi-Fi spectrum, which could result in faster speeds, since that new 6 GHz frequency will not be as crowded, or at least not yet. What is also very interesting to note is that despite many people thinking that the iPhone mini would be discontinued, it looks like there is a general consensus among leakers that the iPhone 13 mini will actually be on the menu, and that we can in fact expect the same sizes as we saw in the iPhone 12 lineup. Now personally, I'm quite happy to hear that, because I've had my fair share of struggles trying to find the right iPhone for me. When the iPhone 12 lineup dropped, I reviewed them all. It took me forever to decide on a model. I was especially torn between the mini and the Pro Max. I finally landed on the Pro Max because of its features, and then ended up selling it anyway and going back to the mini because it's just so convenient and so fun to use. So I would totally understand if Apple wanted to keep the mini in the new lineup despite of the bad sales, because the mini is a phone that takes time to grow on people, and I think Apple knows that. Max Weinbach, whose name you will be hearing a lot in this video because he dropped some serious leak bombs last week, he tells us that Apple is planning to put stronger magnets in the iPhone 13, and I think that will make a lot of people, including myself, very happy, because the magnets on the current iPhones are quite weak, and a lot of third-party accessories like magnetic car mounts that predate the iPhone 12 simply won't hold it. And of course, the infamous MagSafe wallet, which never seems to win the battle against some tight jeans and will slip off just a little too easily. Oh, and also several sources like Wedbush and John Prosser have reported that the new iPhone will come with a 1 TB storage option. And with all the videos we're shooting on our phones these days, and of course with the apps getting larger and larger in size, that does actually make sense. Speaking of videos, let's move on to one of the biggest collection of leaks, and that is about the iPhone 13's camera. In January, Mako Takara reported that the camera module on the 13 Pro and the Pro Max will be the same size, which means it will take up more space on the Pro body, but it also means that IBIS, or as Apple calls it, sensor shift stabilization, is coming to the Pro, and maybe even the larger sensor. Last year, I did a video about why I think the 12 Pro is an awkward phone and should be skipped. The better camera was one of the main reasons I advocated the Pro Max, but if the Pro will have the same camera as the Pro Max, I believe the Pro will become a lot more attractive to a lot more people, because apart from the die-hard fans of the huge screen, most people had issues with the size and weight of the Pro Max. I'll be very curious though to see what premium features Apple will give to the 13 Pro Max to make it better than the 13 Pro. According to Digitimes, Apple might be planning to bring sensor shift stabilization to all iPhone 13 models. Digitimes also claims that LiDAR will now come to all iPhone models, but Ming-Chi Kuo doesn't seem to agree, so I tend to go with him on this. Max Weinbach reported that the lenses on the actual camera module might stick out a little bit less, thereby reducing the camera bump. and that might help a little against that terrible wobble on the iPhones when they're placed flat on a desk or a table. Barclays reported that all models may get a new ultra-wide lens with an f1.8 aperture as opposed to the current f2.4 aperture, which means it lets in much more light, and that always results in better pictures and of course better performance in low light situations. And this is something we've also heard from Ming-Chi Kuo, who's been pretty accurate in his predictions. Now, all of these upgrades are nice, but nothing really special compared to last year. But then Max Weinbach joined the party last week with some really juicy rumors. How about this? Astrophotography mode and portrait mode video. I mean, that last one would be really nice if they can make it work, because unlike a mirrorless camera, the blurry or bokeh effect will be all software based, and that doesn't look great on photo, let alone on video. But then again, Apple is not in the habit of releasing half-baked stuff, so if it's coming, I think we can trust that it works at least pretty well. And you know, if the iPhone chip is going to be similar to the expected A14X chip in the new iPads, which should be similar to the M1 chip in the current Mac lineup, combined with a lighter scanner, Apple might just be able to pull this off. Max is also reporting rumors of a front-facing camera mic with improved noise cancellation and crisper audio. Alright, let's move on to the screen of the iPhone 13 and look at what we know or what we think we know. Opening again with a Max Weinbach rumor, and that is that the screens on the new iPhones, or at least the Pro models, will get 120Hz refresh rate. And that is a big deal because a lot of people were very disappointed that the iPhone 12 did not come with this display. And I know some of you will say it doesn't matter, you don't even notice. Yes, you do. If you've used the flagship Android phone or the iPad Pro for that matter, you know it makes a difference. Max also tells us that the iPhone 13 might be getting an always-on display, showing things like the clock and maybe simple notifications. And this rumor is not so far-fetched because The Elec reported that Samsung is converting the OLED screens for the iPhone to LTPO screens, which have a lower temperature and they eat less battery. So this could justify an always-on display, and of course we know that Samsung's own flagship phones already have this feature and that it works great. Mac Rumors showed an image of some iPhone displays with a smaller notch by a company called iRepair, which seems to prove that Mako Takara was right and that we will in fact be seeing a smaller or at least a thinner notch. Ice Universe posted an interesting tweet last year which included a drawing of a slimmer notch. Now, this isn't a very reputable leaker, but in this case, it seems to be backed up by other leakers with a better track record. Now, in the category of thank God, finally, we have the under-the-screen fingerprint scanner, aka Touch ID. Last year, right after the iPhone 12 was announced, Apple leaker Love to Dream posted a very cryptic tweet saying MISA UTS for iPhone. John Prosser clarified this by sharing that MISA is Apple's internal code for Touch ID, and that UTS simply means under the screen. Mark Gurman stated that it might be used in tandem with Face ID on the iPhone in 2021, so we have a good number of very reputable sources saying the same thing. And let's be honest, it's about time, because there's nothing more annoying than trying to unlock your phone wearing a face mask. Gurman also said it will be supplied by Qualcomm, and Qualcomm also supplied the fingerprint scanner in the Samsung Galaxy S21, and it's really good. PS, if you're interested in my review of the Samsung S21 Ultra, click the card up here. Also, in one of his FPT episodes, John Prosser confirms that Apple already has 2 working prototypes of the iPhone 13 with under-the-screen Touch ID. But let's forget all that for a minute. My favorite Max Weinbach rumor is this. A matte black iPhone? Shut the front door. I mean, he calls it a tweaked version of space gray, which is closer to black. I don't care, I call it matte black. Who do I give my money? Oh yeah, and some other colors like orange and bronze. But who cares, because matte black. And this wonderful matte black fantasy is accompanied by another rumor, which is that the stainless steel edges on the Pro models could become more resistant to fingerprints. And yes, that is a big deal because I hate fingerprints. Finally, the release date. Ming-Chi Kuo said Apple plans to launch this iPhone 13 on time. I mean, things may not have drastically improved as regards a certain pandemic, but Apple may have been better able to anticipate bottlenecks than it was last year when all of this was still new and unexpected. So I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't call this an incremental upgrade, and I'm quite excited to see what Apple will be presenting later this year. Guys, if you liked the video, please give it one of these. It does really help the channel, and feel free to subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.